picture this. You're drowning. Not dramatically, not even obviously, but slowly sinking under the weight of everyone else's needs, expectations, and emotional baggage. And the wildest part? You're the one holding yourself underwater because every time you try to come up for air, this voice in your head screams, "Selfish?" Like it's warning you about a bear. Meanwhile, you're over here thinking that if you just give a little more, do a little more, sacrifice a little more, eventually you'll earn the right to matter. Newsflash, you already matter. You've always mattered. And today, we're going to dismantle the lie that choosing yourself is something you need to feel guilty about. Let me guess what your life looks like right now. You say yes when you mean no. You apologize for having needs. You put yourself last on a list so long that by the time you get to your own name, you're too exhausted to do anything about it. You're the person everyone calls when they need something because you always come through. But when you need support, crickets. Or worse, you don't even ask. Because you've convinced yourself that your needs aren't as important, that other people's problems are more urgent, that taking care of yourself is something you'll do later, someday, when everyone else is sorted out. Except everyone else is never sorted out, and someday never comes. And you're running on fumes, wondering why you feel so resentful and exhausted all the time. Here's what I need you to understand before we go any further. I see you. I see how hard you're trying to be good, to be kind, to be helpful, to be everything to everyone. I see the guilt that rises up like acid reflux every time you even think about putting yourself first. I see how you've been taught that self-care is selfish, that boundaries are mean, that saying no makes you a bad person. I see the way you minimize your own pain because someone somewhere probably has it worse. I see you apologizing for existing, for taking up space, for having the audacity to have feelings and needs and wants. And I'm here to tell you something that might make you uncomfortable at first. You've been lied to. The entire framework you've built your life around this idea that your worth is determined by how much you sacrifice is complete garbage. It's not noble. It's not virtuous. It's not making you a better person. It's slowly killing you, and everyone around you can feel it even if they're not saying it out loud. Let's talk about the core challenge here, because this runs deep. You've been operating under the belief that there's a limited amount of care in the world, like it's a pie, and if you take a slice for yourself, there's less for everyone else. So you've decided to go without. You've appointed yourself as the one who doesn't get a slice because surely someone else needs it more. But here's what you're missing. You're not a pie. Care isn't a finite resource that runs out. When you choose yourself, when you fill your own cup, you don't diminish anyone else. You actually have more to give from a genuine place instead of from resentment and depletion. Right now, you're trying to pour from an empty cup and wondering why everyone's still thirsty and you're collapsing from exhaustion. This matters more than you realize because the cost of not choosing yourself isn't just personal burnout, though that's bad enough. The cost is your authenticity, your joy, your health, your relationships, and ultimately, your life force. When you consistently abandon yourself for others, you teach people that you don't matter. You train them to expect endless giving with no regard for your limits. You model for your children, if you have them, that their needs don't matter either. You become a shell of a person, going through the motions, saying the right things, but completely disconnected from who you actually are. And the cruelest irony? The people you're sacrificing yourself for don't even respect you for it. They might appreciate it in the moment, but deep down, they sense your lack of self-respect, and it makes them uncomfortable. Nobody actually wants to be around someone who treats themselves like garbage. It's not inspiring. It's sad. Now let's get into why this pattern exists in the first place, because understanding the mechanism helps you dismantle it. There's this concept in psychology called learned helplessness meets codependency with a side of people-pleasing. But let's break it down simply. From a very young age, most of us learned that love was conditional. You got approval when you were good, quiet, helpful, accommodating. You got rejection or punishment when you were needy, loud, demanding, or inconvenient. So your brilliant little child brain figured out a survival strategy. Become indispensable. Make yourself so helpful, so giving, so selfless that no one could possibly reject you. The problem is, that strategy worked when you were 6 and powerless, but you're not 6 anymore. You're an adult with agency, and that old program is now running your life like malware you forgot to uninstall. There's also neuroscience at play here. Your brain has something called the anterior cingulate cortex, which is basically your internal alarm system for social rejection. When you say no or prioritize yourself, this alarm goes off screaming, "Danger! They might not like you." Your body floods with cortisol and adrenaline like you're being chased by a predator. It feels terrible, so you quickly back down, say yes, and sacrifice yourself to turn off the alarm. But here's the thing. That alarm is miscalibrated. It's treating a boundary like a life or death situation when it's actually just someone being mildly inconvenienced. The more you practice choosing yourself despite the alarm, the more your brain learns that you can survive people's disappointment. Eventually, the alarm gets quieter, but you have to actually practice, which means feeling uncomfortable on purpose. So how do we actually do this? How do we go from, "I'll just squeeze myself into whatever space is left over," to, "I choose myself first without guilt"? I'm going to give you a practical roadmap, and I need you to commit to actually trying these things, not just intellectually agreeing with them and then doing nothing. Step 1, stop calling it selfish. Language matters. Every time you think about doing something for yourself and the word selfish pops up, I want you to correct it. Out loud if possible. Say, "No, this is self-preservation," or "This is self-respect," or "This is self-care." Selfish means acting with malicious disregard for others. Taking a nap because you're exhausted isn't selfish. Setting a boundary because someone's draining you isn't selfish. Saying no to things you don't want to do isn't selfish. It's called being a person with limits. And last I checked, you're allowed to be human. Every time you reframe the language, you're rewiring your brain's association. This isn't a small thing. This is foundational. Step 2. Start with micro-choices. You don't have to go from doormat to boundary boss overnight. In fact, please don't, because your nervous system will panic and you'll retreat right back to old patterns. Start small. Today, choose yourself in one tiny way. Maybe it's ordering the meal you actually want instead of the cheapest thing on the menu. Maybe it's saying, "I need 10 minutes before you respond to someone's request." Maybe it's taking a different route home just because you feel like it. These sound insignificant, but they're not. You're practicing the act of prioritizing your preference, your need, your desire. You're building evidence that the world doesn't end when you choose yourself. String enough of these moments together, and you'll start to believe you're allowed to exist on your own terms. Step 3. Notice the guilt, don't obey it. Guilt is going to show up, that's guaranteed. It's been your constant companion for so long that it probably has a room in your house and knows your Wi-Fi password. When it arrives, and it will, every time you choose yourself, I want you to do something revolutionary. Acknowledge it, and do the thing anyway. I notice I feel guilty about taking this bath instead of doing one more load of laundry. I'm taking the bath anyway. See what you did there? You didn't argue with the guilt. You didn't try to logic it away. You didn't let it stop you. You just observed it like a weather pattern and kept moving. Guilt loses its power when you stop treating it like a moral compass. Sometimes guilt is just an old habit having a tantrum because you're changing the rules. Step 4. Practice the phrase, "That doesn't work for me." You don't need to explain, justify, or provide a dissertation on why you're saying no. "That doesn't work for me" is a complete sentence. So is, "I'm not available for that." So is, "I've thought about it and the answer is no." You've been so conditioned to manage other people's feelings that you think you owe everyone an explanation that makes them comfortable with your boundary. You don't. Their discomfort with your boundary is their problem to solve, not yours to manage. Will this feel rude at first? Absolutely. Will people push back? Probably. Will you survive it? Yes. And here's the secret. The people who genuinely care about you will respect your boundaries. The people who throw tantrums when you set limits were only interested in what you could do for them anyway. Good riddance. Step 5. Schedule yourself like you're an important appointment. If it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist. And I'm not talking about scheduling the leftover scraps of time after everyone else has taken their piece. I'm talking about blocking off time for yourself first and building everything else around it. An hour on Sunday morning that's non-negotiable. A lunch break where you actually eat lunch instead of working through it. An evening each week where you're unavailable. Period. Treat these appointments with yourself with the same respect you'd give a meeting with your boss or a doctor's appointment. Because guess what? You are the most important person in your life. And if you don't act like it, no one else will either. Step 6. Get comfortable disappointing people. This is the big one, and it's where most people give up. You've spent your whole life trying to make everyone happy, and the truth is, you can't. You literally cannot make everyone happy. It's impossible. Someone is always going to be disappointed, and if you're constantly sacrificing yourself to avoid that, the person who's always disappointed is you. So flip the script, disappoint others occasionally so you don't have to live in constant self-betrayal. Because here's what no one tells you. People will survive your no. They'll be fine. They'll figure it out. They're adults. But you might not survive a lifetime of abandoning yourself. The resentment will eat you alive from the inside out until there's nothing left but a bitter shell doing things out of obligation instead of love. Step 7. Build a support system that reflects your new values. Look around at the people in your life. Are they supporting your journey towards self-prioritization, or are they guilting you for it? Are they celebrating when you set boundaries, or are they the ones constantly pushing against them? You might need to distance yourself from people who benefited from your lack of boundaries. This isn't mean. This is necessary. You're becoming someone new, someone who chooses herself, and not everyone from your old life is going to be compatible with your new life. That's okay. That's actually healthy. Seek out people who model healthy self-regard, who don't apologize for having needs, who respect boundaries because they have their own. These people will normalize what you're trying to learn. Step 8. Reframe rest as productive. You've been taught that productivity is the only valuable use of time, which is why doing nothing feels like a moral failure. But rest isn't the absence of productivity, it's a different kind of productivity. Rest is what allows everything else to work. Your body needs it to repair, your mind needs it to process, your creativity needs it to regenerate. You are not a machine that should run at full capacity until you break down. You're a living being with rhythms and cycles and needs. Choosing rest is choosing sustainability. It's choosing to be able to show up tomorrow instead of burning out today. Stop treating rest like something you have to earn and start treating it like the non-negotiable requirement it actually is. Now, let's address what's going to happen when you start doing this work, because I want you prepared. People are going to be confused. They're going to ask what's wrong with you. They might get angry that you're not available for them the way you used to be. Some will guilt trip you. Some will call you selfish, ironically. These reactions aren't about you. They're about them losing their free ride. They're about them having to take responsibility for their own lives instead of outsourcing it to you. Do not let their discomfort make you doubt yourself. You're not doing anything wrong. You're simply stopping doing something wrong, which was treating yourself like you don't matter. You're also going to have moments where you backslide, where someone asks for something and you automatically say yes before you even think about it, where you find yourself over-explaining a boundary, where you feel guilty for taking an hour to yourself. This is normal. Change isn't linear. You're undoing decades of programming. Be patient with yourself. Notice the backslide without judgment and make a different choice next time. Every moment is a new opportunity to choose yourself. You don't have to be perfect at this. You just have to keep trying. Here's something else that's going to happen that might surprise you. You're going to feel grief. Because as you start choosing yourself, you're going to realize how many years you spent not choosing yourself. You're going to grieve the time you lost, the opportunities you missed, the version of yourself you abandoned. Let yourself feel that. It's part of the healing. But don't let it become a reason to stay stuck. The best time to start choosing yourself was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. Let me give you a visualization to anchor this work. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself as a garden. For years, you've been giving all your water, sunlight, and nutrients to everyone else's gardens while yours turned into a dusty patch of dirt. You told yourself this was noble, this was love, this was what good people do. But now, look at your garden. Really look at it. It's dying. And you can't give anyone anything from a garden that's dead. Now imagine turning on the water for yourself. Imagine sunlight pouring onto your soil. Imagine nutrients soaking in. Watch your garden come back to life slowly at first, then faster. Watch things bloom that you didn't even know were there. This is what happens when you choose yourself. You don't become selfish, you become sustainable. And from that place of fullness, what you give to others is actually genuine instead of obligation. So here's what I want you to do right now, today, before you click away and forget everything I've said. Choose yourself in one small way. Just one. Maybe it's saying no to something you don't want to do. Maybe it's taking 15 minutes to do something that brings you joy. Maybe it's simply acknowledging out loud, I choose myself first without guilt. Say it. Mean it. Let it feel weird and uncomfortable. That discomfort is the old programming dissolving. You're safe. You're allowed. You're worthy of your own care, your own time, your own life. Drop a comment and tell me, what's one area where you've been abandoning yourself? Where have you been putting everyone else first at your own expense? Name it. Speak it out loud. There's power in witnessing your own truth. And your story might give someone else permission to choose themselves too. If this resonated, if something in you shifted, subscribe to this channel. We're doing deep work here. We're unlearning toxic patterns and building lives where we actually matter to ourselves. This isn't a one-time fix. It's a practice, a commitment, a daily choice. And I want to be here supporting you through it. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's drowning in everyone else's needs. Someone who's forgotten they're allowed to be a priority in their own life. Send it to them as permission, as a lifeline, as a reminder that choosing yourself isn't betrayal, it's the most loving thing you can do. Here's the truth I need you to walk away with. Choosing yourself first without guilt isn't selfish, it's self-preservation. It's the difference between being a resentful martyr and being a whole person capable of genuine love and connection. When you choose yourself, you're not taking anything away from anyone else. You're ensuring that there's still a you left to show up for life. You don't need anyone's permission to matter. You don't need to earn the right to take care of yourself. You don't need to wait until everyone else is okay before you're allowed to be okay. You matter now, today, exactly as you are. Your needs are legitimate. Your boundaries are necessary. Your rest is essential. Your joy is important. I choose myself first without guilt. Say it with me, again and again, until it stops feeling like a lie and starts feeling like the truth it's always been. You are worthy of your own care, your own time, your own love, not someday, not after you've done enough, right now, exactly as you are. Go choose yourself. The world will adjust, and the people who truly love you will celebrate the fact that you finally started loving yourself too. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being brave enough to consider that maybe, just maybe, you're allowed to come first in your own life. Your journey is just beginning, and I'm honored to be a small part of it. Now go be the person who finally chooses you.